cut off here, and this was added with that water rights decision. And that was MID again with that petition before the state board. We talked a little bit about what they're requiring of us, or when we get back to that agenda item after we go through the map, we'll talk specifically about what they're requesting and what our action plan would look like. So this discussion right now is to provide an overview of this program and the maps that it reads. This is a web-based digital map presentation site, and it also it's a house for what's considered geospatial data. So it's not just the map layers that go on here, but it's also other things like where our infrastructure goes, where it extends, what properties we serve, where fire hydrants are, where valves are. All of those things are capable of being housed on this for immediate access by the district, by field staff, for customer service, for updating our information, for compliance issues and everything. So that's what this is all about. The information that is put into this, as far as the boundaries, again, this is agenda item 5B, which is the map itself. That information came from a conversation and request from the consulting firm, which is California CAD Solutions, to both MID, to the County of Mariposa, to the County of Tuolumne for the most current maps that they had in place, as well as the State Water Board and DWR. What they received was they received maps from MID's engineer that put together the most recent map for the State Water Board for the amended place of use. So that was transmitted, electronic shape file is what they call it, was transmitted from the MID engineers to the consultant working on the map. The information about the district boundaries came from Mariposa County, who is the responsible entity. The Mariposa County LAFCO is the one who maintains the shape file. They have a digital file that they sent to CalCAD Solutions, and then they plug that in. They also have, LAFCO has a sphere of influence as well. So you have the boundaries and the sphere of influence that come from LAFCO. Then the boundaries of the place of use came from MID's digital files through their engineer. And those were plugged in. And then the infrastructure information, we happen to have Kim Topi, I'm not trying to name drop, but she was trained in some GIS work and some CAD work, and we did get the water mains put into the system. Their accuracy hasn't been checked, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But the rest of the infrastructure did not get finished. But it does reside on district paper maps that are outdated and haven't been updated in 10 years. So that's how the data got to the company that puts this together. Now you've got a couple options, okay? You can have the mapping people take that digital image and produce a PDF file and a JPEG file of that so that you can take it out and get printed, and we have a PDF of these boundary maps. And you can also they can provide it in the shape file format that then the district could run it in a program, like a CAD, AutoCAD program. That means that somebody's got to be able to run it and bring it up in layers and manipulate the software to be able to look at it in AutoCAD. And that's the difference with this is the people that have this program, the web-based program, is that that's all basically done. It's not, you don't have to have the CAD program, you don't have to know how to manipulate CAD, you don't have to pay for licenses for a separate CAD program. It's their program that they've written on how to be able to access it. So I'm going to go through now. Let me just make sure, there's a couple things that this provides, and as we go along, I'll let you know what those are. But I want to get started right off the bat. There's also the one other layer that I didn't talk about was the parcels. Okay, it's really important because we've got parcels in both Tuolumne County and Mariposa County. The parcels are what are served. So those lines are very important as they relate to these other boundaries. Okay? And in some cases you'll see that they've been changed. And when the parcels get changed, that doesn't necessarily mean that your map boundary changes. It just means your map stays the same, but the parcels might reconfigure and affect the way that your boundary looks. And so this is just the standard street view of, there's a street view, there's a satellite view of the hybrid, and then terrain as far as it has an overlay so that you can see what basic elevation changes happen.
What is the red dotted line?
That's what I'm just going to address that by color right now, one at a time, because I want to make sure we don't miss anything. Okay, so the red layer is the district official boundary on file with Mariposa County LAFCO. Okay, interesting because we've got a couple of holes in it. We got a donut hole and we got an island out here. Okay, so that is the official boundaries of the district, and I'll zoom in later. I don't want to go in and out and in and out. I just want to give you a picture of it for right now to start off with. And then we're authorized, the main thing that's important about this red boundary is that according to state law and the Community Services District Code, we're authorized by LAFCO to provide water service within that boundary. Okay? Anything outside that district boundary now requires LAFCO approval. Okay? Either by contract or a boundary amendment. Okay, so that boundary is important from that perspective. And that's what the red layer represents. So I'm going to jump in and I'm going to add the sphere of influence layer. I'm sorry, no, this is sphere of influence. Because I'm going to put that in and I'm going to take it back out because it's not going to be as important as some of the other stuff we'll talk about. Now, the more you put up, sometimes the more your eye gets drawn away from things. But LAFCO has to do two things. One is to create a sphere of influence, and then the boundary, the actual boundaries. The boundaries are only adjusted when needed. The sphere of influence is looked at, supposed to be every 5 years, based on what the needs are of the area. Okay. In other words, if there was a big push to do something up at up further out, like the boat club or something like that, then LAFCO might include that within the sphere of influence when they do an update. They haven't done an update in a long time. 2008, I think, was the last one. It's required to be done every 5 years, and they didn't do it because they want the district to fund it, and we didn't go there. We delayed that. Okay, so just to let you know that hasn't been updated, but they added. You can see that the boundaries stop short, and then the green line going outside is our place of, or our sphere of influence.
So basically, just to comment on this, the red turned into green, so that's still our district boundaries. Where there's red and then to the right of it, that's the sphere of influence, you call it. It's outside the district.
These are both LAFCO boundaries, county. Okay. It's so that there's some entity responsible for growth of the district. Okay, that's really what that's about. So I can turn that sphere of influence off. Just because we're talking more about boundaries and the other the MID layer. Okay, so again, sphere of influence is what they consider to be an expected growth area, but it's gotta be something that's real, not just speculated area when they do that. So then adding the sphere of influence, again, this came from, whoops, I did the sphere again, I need that one. All right, so the beautiful aqua color is the MID place of use as given to the CalCAD solutions by the MID engineers, MBK, and I had a phone conversation with them again on Friday of last week after receiving the notice of violation and seeing that what that entity, the State Water Board, was putting out there was different than this. You know, so I got the information that I needed to get my mind straight on it. So this is like I said, the aqua layer is the MID place of use. That is where Lake McClure water is allowed to be used, unless the petition with the state board is amended, and that was, like I said, 5 years last time for one project. You know, so amending that MID place of use is possible, but expensive and long-winded. So you can see there's a number of locations where the district boundaries extend quite a ways past the place of use. And there are places where the place of use is stopped short of the district boundaries. Okay, and we'll zoom in on that in just a minute. I just wanted to give you an understanding of what that looks like. So now I'm going to pull I believe I pulled the sphere of influence back really quick, or the place of use, and we've asked our well. It's not showing. This is going to cut it a little bit short. I think that...
Can you regen?
Yeah, I probably can, but... we're not getting a failure of any sort at this point. Cindy, would it be possible for, while I'm going through some of this, for you to make a phone call to Richard and see if they just happen to turn this off? It'd be kind of crazy that they did, but you know, my only other option is to take a break, but because it's extremely important that it.
Okay.
So you can actually take my cell phone just because I'll give you the.
That's okay.
Missing a layer?
No, it's a layer, and it's also a report that was done. I mean, the report is probably still there, but the report just gives you the properties. Yeah, see, there's the properties. Let me try something else. Let me go at it this way.
Same.
Oh, it was so pretty last night. So easy to read. Didn't you say you were able to?
I didn't play around with the boundary issues part. I was playing around with the POU boundaries and stuff in the reports, but I didn't get that far. I don't even remember if I had that option. I'm sure I probably did.
Will it show up if you take the boundaries off?
I don't think anything, I don't think that is the issue. It's, I would hate to think that they're working on it, because this is not the time to be working on it. If it is, that's the only thing I can figure, is that they're
Can you give me a second?
generating a report. I will just forward you his email.
Which one is the original?
I don't know.
I'm gonna take this one.
Readers never like talk to them. Go to like a survey. Even though it's incremental.
I'll go slow. We're gonna stop here.
Take a recess.
Yeah, just, when should we just pick up this, yeah?
Okay, let's take a recess. It's 2:10. We'll take a recess to 2:15 and reconvene at 2:15.
That takes the pressure off.
Yeah, not really.